This is a one-speaker meeting, and please welcome our speaker tonight, Terry.
All right.
Hello, my name is Terry, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Terry.
Beyond grateful for being sober. There's 2 seats in the front here, front row. Come down. There's one over there, too. Anyway, beyond grateful, and a little bit about what it was like, what happened, what it's like now. What it was like was, I guess it's a lot of people like me, but I had a lot of education about alcoholism as a kid. Most of us here had some adult alcoholic around us, giving us, a foretaste of what's to come. But we talked about alcoholism, and my father went to meetings in 1943 and 44, because his father brought the Post article over, son, find these people. My mother was one of 10 kids. She had 2 brothers who were Skid Row alcoholics, and they would visit us. My father was a periodic. I remember was a real nice daddy or a stumbling drunk, and kind of frightening. Little kids, you remember one time he stumbled and went through the French window with a curtain, glass, screen, out, driveway out there. So I was observing this, and we talked about it kind of early. My father died when I was 6 and a half in detox. Used to have a lot of detox places in big cities because nobody got sober for long, but there was little places you could go put somebody. When it just finally too much, just put them there. When finally defenseless, give them a little paregoric. It stinks, but every drunk likes it. Knock you out for 2 days, and then you kind of come back. And we die in our detox. That detoxification from alcohol is by far the most dangerous detox. Hardly anybody ever dies of, monkey on my back, blah, blah, blah. It's, a nervous wreck and you throw up, but you don't die. You die from our detox. Anyway, grew up with that. And my Uncle Bill got sober and built a room in the back of our house. Then he got drunk again. And when I was 15, and I'm a Catholic kid, I took the pledge. Some of you old Catholics took the pledge when you were confirmed by an Irish bishop. I promise not to drink till I'm 21. And everybody said, don't worry, nobody keeps the pledge. And I did. I took the high road. Just some of us, children of alcoholics, take the high road. And I went to the seminary and studied to be a priest. Didn't drink. I wrote a 65-page paper on alcoholism 2 years before I drank. I read the big book. You'd think that somebody with a good. Well, while I was as a kid, I like to tell this because it's just the ridiculousness of family disease. I was a teenager sleeping in the garage at home. I hadn't seen my Uncle Bill for about a year. He had been sober in the program, and he left. And he woke me up about 3:30 in the morning. My brother had gotten married. I was alone in the bunk bed in the garage. And he said, come out in the backyard. And I said, I don't want to come out in the backyard. He said, drunk ever wake you up with an idea? I went, anyway. And I fought him off as long as I could. And he would not let me alone. He wouldn't tell me what was in the backyard. But I finally got up, and is this what they do when they don't like the speaker? Anyway, I love that thing. It's not all about me. I still think it's all about me, even though it's. But I just loved it when you said, when you took a cake for someone else's happy birthday. I just. Touches my heart. Anyway, I got out in the backyard, and you could drive a car in our backyard, and he'd driven a car. He arrived in a car, and it was on fire. And so I ran out, and he said, "First, we better get George." George was in the front seat, the car still. And I ran over, pulled George out. I got him in a chair on the lawn. And I had met George before. He was an English teacher who met me to Skid Row. And he said, "What Shakespeare are you studying?" I said, "Oh, we're on Julius Caesar." Well, he starts giving me a quiz on Julius Caesar. I didn't want to be impolite to break off the quiz for the burning car. And funny, anyway, you get the idea. That's an alcoholic family. And so I figured, read enough about this. I knew I had a good chance to be an alcoholic. My father was, 3 maternal uncles. That's pretty good odds. And I thought, well, if I notice that I'm alcoholic, when I start drinking, I'm going to quit right away, because I'll never do to a kid what my Uncle Bill did to me. And he didn't molest me or beat me up. He just, unless the car was on fire, he would usually trap me in a corner and bore me to death with drunk talk, with spittle hitting me in the eye, and wine breath all over me. And I thought, I'll never do that to a kid, you know? And the minute I started drinking, I started looking for a kid to do that to. But I had a drink on my 21st birthday, and I just said, this is way good. This is beyond good. This is hope, you know, that maybe life can be tolerable, at least for, a couple hours. And that's the way I react to alcohol. And I was in a situation where I hardly ever got to drink. And when I did drink, it was a big deal. When I drank, it was a big deal. If I got one drink, it's a big deal that I didn't get two. I'll tell you that. It's a very big deal. Or as much as I wanted. And alcohol speaks to me. And it speaks so deeply. It just goes through my whole body, all my joints. And it says, all right now, just make sure you get another drink. And so I was ordained a priest, and thought, well, I'm going to have to get serious about this now. And I didn't think I was a real alcoholic, because I didn't disappear for a month the way my uncles did when I drank, and I could come home fast. But it was a big deal, struggle, and go to confession. I went to confession to a priest one time, and he said, young man, take my advice. I know your type. Never take another drink for the rest of your life. I know your type. So I found someone else to go to confession to after that. And there was this on and off. I was beginning to quit. I thought that I was afraid to quit, because I would just never get to drink again. I was so used to keeping my own decisions. I went to the seminary once. I stayed 12 years. I took these things seriously. And when I finally decided to quit, I asked God's help. And I said, it's clear. This is not like maybe, no, it's not maybe. You're an alcoholic. You're not quite in the stage your uncles got, but everything in the book, you're an alcoholic. And so I asked God's help and decided to quit, and I quit. And I started drinking 2 or 3 days later. Without no drama about I can't stand it. Just have time for a drink. And it made me feel crazy, and it made me feel like I really am. I'm crazy. I'm crazy when it comes to alcohol. And I was doing my job, and I'm not cynical about my vocation and what I have to do. I work at it, and I take it seriously, and I would stay sober for lengths of time, and then drink, and then sometimes not do too bad, and other times do bad, you know. The typical alcoholic, I know, my pastor was really on the watch because I had demonstrated had a problem, and he had a big party. He was an Irishman, and he had a kind of a party for a bunch of his buddies, other old crusty Irish pastors, and they came over for dinner, and I decided I'm not going to make a fool of myself with these guys, and so I did no drink. I'll just be a good guy, and that's what people like, and help out. So I did that, and they all got done with the dinner and went upstairs and played cards, and a buddy of mine came by, and I thought they had these cut glass little toy thing, you know, brandy or something, and I thought, well, that looked like kiddie stuff, you know. Let's have a little kiddie drink, you know. And I think I had about 5 kiddie drinks and decided that it was I get out of this chicken shit place, you know. And my buddy told me he had a terrible time getting me in the house. I kept crashing into the wall and dragging me up. I was in a black, I don't remember. And that's on an evening I decided not to drink. I was finally turned into the cardinal, and I got to talk to the cardinal one-on-one. No one in my class had done that yet. And we decided I shouldn't drink. And I lasted about 2 weeks, the cardinal, and showed up at 7:45 in the morning, got home at 7:45 for the 6:30 Mass. And I said, I guess this is it. He said, yeah, this is it. And so I lost my assignment. And that doesn't sound too bad, does it? You know, you lose your assignment. It's kind of an administrative, like, no. But if you live where you work and drive a company car, it's a big change. Anyway, they didn't. I wasn't abandoned. They were willing to. They said, "Well, you better go to." Well, somebody got to the personnel director, and some fanatic, strange person, and convinced him that the priest had a problem. He sent him to Schick Shadle, and so I got to go there. And that's an aversion treatment thing, a Pavlov dog approach to sobriety, where you get they interview. What do you like the best to drink? And you're like an idiot. You tell them, "Oh, I really like Scotch." You know? And then the next day, you have this treatment where you get a nausea drug injection in your shoulder, and you're going to be really sick no matter what happens next. But then they give you a few drinks. I mean, a number of drinks, and you become real sick, and throw up and throw up and throw up, and get the taste and smell and everything of the beverages you like best, deeply associated with intense nausea. And 5 of those treatments over a 10-day period, with a spirit of good sportsmanship, is supposed to keep you sober for the rest of your life, you know. And I was a good sport, and I went through I thought I deserved to suffer. And you know, when I knew about AA, never occurred to me to go to AA. That's how much I understood that, number one, if I go to AA, they'll tell me it's a disease. I know that. Then they'll tell me the first drink gets you drunk. Let me tell you. I don't need a meeting for that, you know. And then number 3, you tell me I needed God. Thank you very much. Of course, none of us can imagine Alcoholics Anonymous as fellowship and as steps. And the steps, who would ever think up the steps? You know? Who would ever think that they just don't look like, huh? Okay, look wholesome, you know, but think this will do it, huh? They don't look pertinent, you know. I mean, they don't. And then and there's no way to. Anyway, I got drunk again. That might surprise you after that. And I got drunk, and I got to go back to Schickshadel 4 more times. I'm a 5-time loser. Schickshadel, a lot of. And they would not take me back anymore. I was demoralizing the other patients when I showed up. And so my next time I got, and I was getting myself hospitalized those 4 times. I was trying to keep it away from downtown, the Bishop, so I wouldn't be kicked out completely. And I was borrowing money. I had a lot of debt. And so I got drunk again, and a friend of mine got downtown to get me in detox in a psych ward, and it was a psych ward. It wasn't a detox ward. It was everyone else was righteously mentally ill. I was the only one detoxing in this big place, and I got through the detox, and at the end of that detox, there was I had an experience. I was going to say 2 things happened. One of them was of no significance, and one I think of deep significance. The no significance was that I became the Scrabble champion of the unit, and I beat 2 of the nurses. You know, I thought that made me feel. I didn't think much of it till I beat the rest of the patients, but the nurses, I beat the nurses, and I mentioned this one time with a group of men on a retreat, and one guy took me aside who was a psychiatric nurse. He said, "I don't want to hurt your feelings," but he says, "They teach us to let the patients win." But the other thing that happened, just that I was kind of done with detox and wasn't out of the place yet, and there's just a conviction came. It just came. It went up like this, came up my head, and it said, very strong, "You're going to be drunk again pretty soon. You always get drunk again. And you're going to get detox somehow after your run is done on someone's garage floor or something. You won't keep these good contacts for very long for a hospital. And you'll just keep doing this over and over until you become a pathetic, boring pain in the ass to all who know you. And then you'll die." I thought, well, at least I know. I hated to get my hopes up. I couldn't stand that. So I was kind of resigned in a way. And I think that was the first part. That was great. First part of the first step. It wasn't the whole first step, but it was starting to happen. And I got to go from there to a recovery house where you went to meetings every day. And I went to meetings. I thought, okay, I'll go to meetings. Okay. And it didn't surprise me when I got to the meeting. It was like this meeting, kind of noisy and confused, and everyone seemed to be, insanely happy for whatever reason I couldn't figure out. And except the ones depressed, you don't notice them. Everyone's making up too much noise. And but something touched me, And I thought, I like this. And it's not this not the kind of thing I like, I was in class 21 straight years without a break. I was done with sitting in chairs and rooms, and I wasn't. Thought I was. And I started to, experience what we experienced, and I'm such a head tripper. I'm just such a completely abstracted. I think understanding things is I wanted to get it. I want to get it. Get it. Thank you very much. I'll see you later. I think I got it, I could not even picture the process of actually saying hello, hi, and then having someone talk to me, tell me their story, and touch my heart, and say, oh, the first time you identify with somebody, oh, you're done. It's you just if you say, oh, that means you identified. If you identify, you love them. And even if you don't like them, you actually love a person the minute you identify with them. And this is the healthiest thing you can do in the world in your whole life, is to start loving everybody as you go, and then just the basic thing of the steps, that I'm a head-tripping, perfectionist, fear-driven, abstracted, overeducated person. And I wanted to get the steps. Okay, you got to do the steps. I'm going to do the steps. And I'm going to do them right first time. And I never had a feeling I was doing the steps right. I never hit button. I didn't agree I'm powerless completely. And I was trying to believe more deeply in God for years, reading books and saying my prayers. And came to believe that God can power greater than myself. Well, and then I thought, what's sanity and what and I can't be trusted doing the steps by myself. I got to be in a group, and then tell you how badly I'm doing the step, and then you kind of laugh and say, well, we're not giving marks. You do it. Okay, you do it, and then you talk to your sponsor about it, and then you do the next one. And if you think it's, you may circle back, and there's some things you do again. But I think we have to do the steps. I mean, seriously, work it, get it one at a time, and do them. And if you're like me, if you're my type of introverted, neurotic, head-tripping person, you will not be impressed with how you do the steps. You'll think you're secretly incompetent and that you can't really do them right, and it won't work for you. It will for the other people, but for you, you're just too deep and smart, and you're smart enough to know you're not doing it right, and you probably won't last, and you might even have to anyway. Someone identifies with that. That's me, and I hope to. I had my 39th year cake, and I love Alcoholics Anonymous. I won't say I just love every meeting, because I'm not healthy enough. But I love to go to meetings. I've been going probably 3.2 meetings a week for almost 40 years, and it's just absolutely. I can't even imagine living without the madness and the love and the comfort of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's, and I even think like nothing's wasted. I used to think, when you identify with somebody strong, that's it, yeah, that's me. Then you got to wait for a while, for the other ones to talk, and until you identify again. And I think at least half of our recovery, once you get rolling and you really go to meetings and don't drink and do the next indicated thing and find out there's a hope in your heart and you actually starting to act like a human being, and it almost scares you because you're acting like a human being. I think half of our recovery is the distress we go through when we're showing respect for the dignity of another person to take their turn when we don't like it so much. And it's like parents sticking with the baby when it's crying, I think that's the worst thing about celibacy. You don't have crying babies and you never grow up. But AA will substitute, because it draws love out of you under stressful conditions. And that's just a theory. And we're dragged into treating one another in a decent fashion. And we get to have our hearts touched. And when your heart's touched, you love. When you love, there's a space for the obsession to be lightened or taken away enough to enjoy life and without being killed with alcohol. Thank you very much.